After I spent a year riding a 2021 R90 Scrambler and getting more into the details of the BMW history, I began to want a larger project. So I picked up this 1985 R80 RT for a complete rebuild project. Originally, this was going to be a cafe racer, but along the way, I found that it really wasn't the basket case I thought I was buying, and so I decided to go in a different direction, converting it into an S or CS styled bike, something that BMW did not make in 1985. After I converted my basement into a makeshift motorcycle shop, I began buying parts, taking it apart, and 2 years later, all spare time of course, this is where we are. The first thing people will notice about this is the fairing. This is the Siebenrock S cockpit fairing kit that we've added. Also, enthusiasts out there will recognize that this is not an airhead set of handlebars or dash. These actually came from a K75, required some custom fitting. I had to design my own bar clamps so that they could be held on correctly. But that all came together quite nicely. I already set the trip odometer when I started to finish the rebuild. So you got just almost 300,000 miles. The second thing everybody notices is this paint. I have always favored the smoke red paint schemes that BMW did. And I wanted something that was a modern interpretation of this paint scheme. A slightly darker red than what BMW would use. I think it turned out great. The paint was done by Zach Witkowski down at Black Wolf Touring and Custom. He's been a great help in this project with information and advice, occasionally sourcing a part or two. But he just did a fantastic job on getting the paint that I want. I've decided to leave the pinstripes and decals off because I feel like that makes this feel like a little bit more of a modern machine. But otherwise, I think the look is done. I had to send out my heads to an expert to have them rebuilt. That was a little bit more than I was up to. Same thing with the final drive. I sent those to the same place. I won't share who I sent that with because while they did a great job on the heads, they didn't do as good a job on the final drive, and I had to do some minor revisions. I added the Siebenrock 1000cc power kit for the R80. Completely rebuilt the transmission. Oh, it needed new lifters. The lifters that were in this were quite pitted. A little bit of selective paint on the engine just to give it a little bit of style. Underneath that front cover is a brand new Euromotor Electric's charging system with the optical sensor for timing. Full LED lights all the way around. custom gas cap, of course. I think that came from Flat Racer. Brand new exhaust, front to rear. I installed the taller fifth gear in the transmission, so it's a little bit better at speed going down the highway. It'll cruise along happily in the mid 80s. Brand new starter. The electric system is the Euromotor Electric's R21 system, which made rewiring everything a bit more simple. Those units are made by NWT Cycletronic, and you couldn't ask for a company with better customer service. Those guys are available on the weekends. They actually take Monday and Tuesday off and work a slightly different week than most of us, because they know that the weekends are when we're working on our bikes, and they want to be available. They will also make you a custom diagram, which is pretty awesome. Once you know all the parts and have them fitted, you could send them a few photos and an inventory, and they'll set you up with a custom wiring diagram. When I got the bike, this one had a Russell touring seat on it, which I found to be uncomfortable. So I reverted this back to the original monolever dual seat, period correct. Converted it over to a completely dual line front braking system, eliminating the distribution block that's usually under the tank, instead using the dual banjo from the master cylinder. Just lovely.